some decent suspension.
It's not bad.
All right, so today I get to throw some drift suspension into the 93 Supra, which is going to be pretty sweet. It's a really simple install. Setting up ride height is more the concern than anything else, and I'm going to go over the technicalities of that at the end of the video. Talk about the spring rates of this suspension, talk about the myths about preloading, and just kind of get more into that. But I'll do that at the end of the video. Right now, I've got to get these things ripped off and get some new suspension in there. So let's get started. So now I'm going to get the suspension out of here, which looks super simple. Looks like a bolt and your 3 on top. And we'll see if we have to do anything with this, or else she might just sneak right out of there. But Matt's here, so it's easier now. Hello.
Out with the old.
Yeah, that spicy meatball is a 19 mil. Now, not to say that the suspension that was in here is bad, but it was set up for drift, not drift, drag. But now we're going with our nice new drift setup from Yellow Speed Performance.
Those are nice looking.
They are nice. So we're kind of going with a gold accent in the Supra, because we're gonna go black on, well, gold on black, I guess you could say. So let's get this out of here, Matt.
Do it.
Let's do it.
Oh yeah, broke her off right away. Just leave that in there for now. Okay, top set.
Yeah. Slowly but surely.
Oh yeah, you need special man fingers for that. 14 mil up top, peeps. Sheet. Careful on the fucking nice paint that we got here.
Yeah.
You're hanging. Most of it. Oh, there's like a whole bracket on there.
I need a. Oh no, it just pops off.
Let's keep the old washers, eh? Okay. Nice.
Nicely done. Okay.
Guess I should explain why I'm even taking this off. Because this bolt here was in a non-prime location. Probably should have gone in this way. Then you could easily remove it. But they put it in from this way, obviously before the power steering rack was in. Good call. That'll pop it out. Okay, ball joint removal tool. Now I can take this out. That's definitely the easiest way to do that. Take your upper joint out apart and pull your suspension out there. That was a 3/4, I believe. Yeah, that's a 3/4 there. Okay, let's get the new stuff in. If you'd like to do us the honors of the new, oh, what the hell?
Yeah. Why'd they cut that down?
Really? Did they do that to clear that, uh-oh. Oh yeah, that feels good. Hopefully my kid's sleeping because his room is right there. Nice work, Matt. Nice work, Bites. That's better. Now, maybe what we should do temporarily is put this back in. Okay. It's just a temporary job here. Now it makes sense to put this through this way. Okay. Now, how does this, how are we looking here? That's good, that's good. It's looking all right there, eh? Put our big ass bolt back through there. There she goes. That's got the touch. Fired it. Put on the old nuts on the top here. Then we'll do some adjusting. Just. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's quite up in there yet either. Oh, there's some thinking. Don't want to scratch. Seems like it's working. At least we don't have that problem on the other side. Looks like it went up,
yeah, it looks
didn't
like it did kind of. Oh, yeah, that might suck up.
Yeah, it should go now. Look at that, so much more room we got out of that. Nice. So, fairly simple process with the front, obviously. So we got our arm back on, upper arm with the, yeah, it looks like she seated up there real nice. We just had to pound that strut tower back out. Now we just got to tighten our lower bolt back up. And like I said, normally I would obviously throw the power steering rack back on, but because I got to change all that anyway for the angle kit, I'm just going to leave it. So let's just tighten this up and get her done. Okay. Come on. Do the old B-roll setup. She's looking pretty. Pretty. Think the gold's gonna look all right or what?
Yeah, they will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you?
You know the gold calipers would look fucking sweet.
Yeah. I'm gonna save that for the brake video because I think we'll go over what I accidentally ordered there. But so that's the front. Let's get the rear done.
Okay, maybe while you're starting on that, I'll do that.
Matt saw our blunder. We forgot the old, I don't know, spacer washer for the top here. Good catch, Brian.
Yeah, I guess we should do that.
Yeah. In the meantime, it'd be nice to turn this thing off so you can hear me. It gets cold in here. It gets cold in here. So, I'm going to, I guess I'll unbolt the bottom first. Get out of it.
testing, I think.
Okay. And then we'll have to, actually, Matt would appreciate it bringing her down anyway. Gotta bring her down to get at these bolts at the top here. Really gotta do these cables. Okay. So this is all loosened off. Give her a yank in there, Matt. Give her a yank in butts. Nice. I think this is gonna be a lot easier than the front. Yeah. There we go. Okay. At least I don't have to. I could probably sell those, actually.
Yeah.
So, our rear suspension here.
Oh.
Okay. In like Flynn. Something like so right there, yeah. That almost looks like the perfect height there. Okay.
Yeah, well, if you want to put that
back in. Oh. Here we go. That's it. Now let's put some bolts up top. All right, I'll bring this down again. Yep. Yes.
So the fronts are 14 and the
rears are 13. You get the idea. So that's about as simple as the rear shocks get. I mean, gonna have to do the other side so that I can put the rims back on.
lower it down a bit.
Yes. Okay. Oh yeah, she looks good. Hey-o! I said hey-o! All right, so our front suspension on the Dynamic Drift Pro suspension, say that 5 times fast, is 18K. The spring rate is 18K, meaning that for every 18 kilos you put on the spring, it's going to compress by 1 millimeter. Now, in standard terms, that's just about 1,000 pounds per inch. So I guess the formula is usually, if it's 18K, you just take that 18 times it by 56 and you find your standard measurement, which is just over 1,000 pounds in this case. And then on the back, we have a 10K rating, which was just over, well, it's off 560. So a lot, it's half the load, which is kind of interesting actually. Now, as far as preload, I've done a little bit of research on this, and I know a lot, it's kind of a hot topic actually, but the preload is mythological when it comes to linear springs, which is what these are, and most coilovers actually are. So linear being, it doesn't matter how much you compress a spring, you're not giving it any more tension. For every inch you compress that spring, it still has a spring rate that remains linear, stays the same. So all you're doing when you're preloading is actually reducing the travel of your suspension, which, I mean, of course, if you compress too much, you can bottom out the shocks. You can make a really stiff ride. A few different things. Now, what I should mention with preloading is it is useful if you have progressive springs, which is basically a spring that has kind of a thicker, larger coil on the top, and then progressively gets smaller and thinner. So the compression, actually, the spring rate will actually change as it compresses. So when you preload that, you're sort of preloading it to a certain spring rate, if you will, but they're just not as predictable as a regular linear spring. So just kind of clear that up a little bit. So I guess rule of thumb is usually, from what I've heard, you find your full spring travel, the full travel height, and you compress that by 1/4 to 1/2 inch, and that's it. Because you're never going to, the spring is never going to sort of rebound more than that. So you still have a very adjustable ride. Now speaking of adjusting, this system comes with a 33 times level of adjustability, dampening adjustability. It's a one-way. There's one-way and two-way systems. This one's just a one-way up on the pillow ball there. Click it however many times you want. Clockwise, stiffer. Counterclockwise, softer. Really simple. You can set your ride up however you want. And I'm going to set it up probably pretty stiff to start, get the feel for it for the drifting, and then I'm going to tweak it while we're out on the track. All right, so now that I got the car on the ground and I can see the kind of gap I'm working with here. It's about 2 3/4 inches, so I know what I'm playing with. Of course, this always depends on what kind of look you're going for with your camber and what kind of poke you want, all that crap, whatever. So I'm gonna bring this thing back up into the air and get this tire off. Now I'm only doing the rear because I don't have an engine in the front, so there's no point in messing around with the ride height on the front until the engine's in. As far as the back side of the car, not much more weight is going to be going back there, so I can adjust this and worry about the front later. All right, so I've loosened off the lock ring with the wrenches that were supplied. So what I'm going to do is now that I've got the bottom one backed off, I'm going to back off the top one until the spring is free, and then I'm going to just hold the spring up to the underside of the strut, and then I'm going to screw the top ring back up just until it's seated, and I'll show you. Okay, so now you can see the spring is now loose. So we're going to push it up to the strut, and I'm just going to tighten that top ring up. Okay, so that's snug. I'm gonna crank it up about a 1/4 inch past that. Okay. One trick to doing that is once you've got the top ring snugged up, you bring the bottom ring up to it, kind of seat it on there, and then you could, and then you adjust this up a 1/4 inch, or the thickness of your Allen wrench. There'd be a gap about the thickness of your, or not your Allen wrench, your ring wrench, and that's about a 1/4 inch, and then that way you can just see the gap that you've created a little easier. So now I'm going to tighten that up, and then I'm going to actually adjust the ride height by turning the shock with the bottom ring. We're going to actually work it into the shock housing. Okay, so I've cranked it down. I got about 1 3/8 gap between the two rings, and now I'm just mirroring everything on the other side. So I'm just doing the same thing over there. So all this is doing is, once you've got these two tightened up on the top, you'll wrench both of them down, and as you're turning it, it's actually just pulling the shock housing and the knuckle and everything up. As opposed to these two top rings coming down, and then you're decompressing your spring again. So you're maintaining your spring height by pulling the shock housing up. Okay, so I'm gonna do the other side, put the tires back on, put it down, and just see what kind of gap we're at. Keep adjusting from there. Okay, well, I'm probably going to leave it about there for now. It's a little over 1 inch gap. I still need to put glass in the window. It's pretty heavy. And I still need a fuel tank and a couple other things in here. So I'm going to let that weight kind of pull it down a bit. So yeah, that's basically the process for adjusting those up and down. Really easy. And figured I'd show you. This is the damping adjusting tool. Handy little trinket. And they just sit inside there like that. And look at that, it even tells you which way is hard and soft. So let's just go all the way hard for a sec. So that's all the way hard. I guess looked like it was on almost all the way soft. So if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's about, that'll be about the middle in the range of from soft to hard. So yeah, and there's next to no play in that thing. Of course, again, I got 0 for weight back here, but simple. And the front will be the same for the adjustments. So you just sit in there and we'll tweak her good and hard so that engine doesn't pull our suspension down too far. Anyway, I hope that helps a little bit with just going over coilover setups a little bit, and this Dynamic Pro setup from Yellow Speed. It's it looks like it's gonna be pretty sweet. I'm stoked to get this thing out on the track and start trying her out. Anyway, till next time.